AGI, ESI, two terms that makes everybody scared. But before we start to panic about artificial general intelligence and artificial super intelligence, what is intelligence? Think about someone revising for an exam. They've memorized every past paper, every question, every model answer, but when the real exam comes and the questions are slightly different, they freeze. They never learnt the subject, they just learnt the answers. That's memory, it's not intelligence. And the same thing applies to models. They're not really reasoning on the fly, they're just fetching information based on their training data that is similar to the question that you're asking. So it kind of begs the question, how do we test for intelligence? Francois Chollet, a man who is very famous in AI, wrote an entire paper on defining intelligence. The definition? The intelligence of a system is a measure of skill acquisition efficiency over a scope of tasks with respect to priors, experience, and generalization difficulty. So in other words, it's not about what you already know, it's about how efficiently you can learn something completely new. Now, Francois didn't just write a definition, he built a test, and it's called ARC, Abstract Reasoning Corpus. Simple visual puzzles, you see a pattern, you figure out the rule, and you apply it to a new grid. Every puzzle is unique, nothing to memorize, nothing to pattern match from. So humans solve around 60% individually, and in a small group they can virtually solve all of them. So what happens when you put AI through ARC? A year ago, single digits. GPT-03, 6.5%, Gemini 2.5 Pro, 4.9%. Absolute failures on a task a child could do. Alright, but what about today's models? GPT 5.5 scores 85%, that's higher than the human average. So in about a year, AI went from single digits to beating us on the very test designed to prove it wasn't intelligent. But remember, intelligence isn't about getting the right answer, it's about efficiency, how efficiently you can get to that answer. A child solves these puzzles with nothing. No data, no training, no billion-dollar infrastructure, just a brain. So are today's models intelligent? Well, kind of depends on what perspective you take. From a capability perspective, yes, of course. They can code, they can solve really complex mathematical problems, but from an efficiency perspective, they're awful.